Hello pilots! In search of getting to know nuclear option from a different side, I had the idea of completing the basic flight training of ATOM Task Force. ATF was founded by Ender in August 2024 to take nuclear option a little more seriously. The Discord server now has over 1,000 members. There are various wings for all airframes and a lot more. More information about ATF can be found at the end of the video. Since the video has become long by my standards, I have divided it into chapters to find desired sections faster. So I joined the ATF Discord server and started looking around to find out how to become a member. To ensure all pilots possess the same foundational knowledge, all recruits must first complete a basic flight training, or BFT for short. By chance, a BFT session was taking place the very day I joined, specifically at 1:30 AM the following day. Another stroke of luck was that I happened to be on vacation at the time, so I signed up for the BFT. Things got underway just a few hours later. Blue Brooder welcomed all the newcomers and guided the entire group through the various sections of the Discord server, explaining the background and procedures so that everyone had an idea of what they were getting into before their first flight. Listing every single detail would likely be less than thrilling for many, but I do want to mention that ATF boasts a comprehensive hierarchy and various personnel departments, resulting in an impressive organizational structure with a wide range of functions. Mission design, livery design, airframe manuals, tactical maneuvers, various communication channels. I was hugely impressed by all of that. But not in an overwhelming way, rather in an exhilarating one. It felt like the work of people who knew exactly what they were doing. In addition to the Discord server, a piece of software was introduced that I had previously only known from passing mentions. SRS. As far as I understand it so far, it is essentially a simulation of a radio system featuring various frequencies that can be assigned to specific channels and so on. During the test run, we all got a taste of what voices sound like through the software. It certainly enhances immersion. During gameplay, the software allows you to switch the active channel and thus the recipients at the push of a button. This enables communication with air traffic control and various levels of command. After all the Discord server categories had been explained, there was a 10-minute break, followed by the flight school session in the Compass. I kept the recording running the entire time and edited the footage together afterwards. In my opinion, Blue Brooder delivers a very well executed introduction, one that is useful even for absolute beginners and, above all, clearly explains what ATF is all about. But I'll let you see for yourselves. Enjoy this look at ATF's basic flight training.
Alrighty, so we have everybody spawned in. Now, first thing we're going to do, we're going to change a few settings. So if you go into your settings, first thing you're going to do under controls, at the very bottom of your screen, you're going to see it says weapon safety lock while map maximize. You're going to make sure that this box is unchecked. It makes it a lot easier for you to select and fire on targets while in the map. After that, you're going to go over to gameplay, and here in the top center of your screen, you're going to change your unit system to Imperial. Now in ATF, we use Imperial because it is the standard for civil and military aviation throughout the entire world. And it also makes sure that we have a consistent set of units to make sure that there's no miscommunications. After that, you're going to come down to HUD, and here you're going to change your time displayed on HUD to mission time. And once you are done with all of that, you're going to come back into the cockpit. We are now going to do a quick HUD and cockpit overview. Starting in the very top left-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see it says time, and then it gives you a time. It should be 3:10. This is the game time, what time it is in the game world. This does not really have any bearing on us, other than determining whether it's day or night. To the right of that, we have a lovely compass rose. If you look in the bottom center of it, you're going to see a little triangle, and then underneath that, it'll give you your heading in degrees. This is the direction that your aircraft is currently facing. So if, for example, I say, turn to heading 090, you're going to turn until that heading number reads 090, and then you're going to level out. To the right of that, we have our mission time. Should be reading about 4 minutes and 33 seconds. This is how long the mission has actually been going on for. This is useful because in ATF, our operations typically run for between 1.5 to 2 hours. And, you don't want to be taking off at an hour, 59 minutes, because then you're just going to have to turn around and immediately land. It's also useful for coordinating strikes. Moving now to the very middle of your screen. Here you're going to see something that looks like a W with 2 lines coming off of it. This is your nose position indicator. It's where your nose is pointing. After you get up in the air, it's going to be replaced with a crosshairs if you have your gun selected. After you take off, there's going to be another icon that appears underneath your nose position indicator. It's going to look like a circle with 2 lines coming out of it. That's going to be your vector indicator. That is where your plane is actually flying towards. If you look to the left and to the right of your nose indicator, you're going to see that there's a long solid line. This is your horizon. If you take your vector, put it on the horizon, you will fly straight and level. If you look above the horizon, you're going to see that there are solid L's, and these are 5-degree increments above the horizon, so 5, 10, 15 degrees nose up. Below the horizon you have dashed L's, and these are again 5-degree increments, so 5, 10, 15 degrees nose down. Moving on to the very left side of our screen, here you're going to see a fuel gauge, and then that stack starting from the top, we have our airspeed in knots, where 1 knot is about 1.8 kilometers an hour. We have our angle of attack, or our alpha. We have our speed in multiples of the speed of sound, or Mach number. And then we have our gravitational force equivalent. And in the brackets at the bottom, that's the max G overload that you felt during this sortie. Moving across to the other side of the screen, starting at the top, we have our climb rate in feet per minute. We have our barometric altitude, or our altitude above sea level. And then we have our radar altitude, or our altitude above the ground. Now, it's important to know the difference between the two of these. Sometimes there can be a very large difference between your barometric and your radar altitude. For example, if you're flying over a mountain, your barometric altitude might read 5,000 feet, but your radar altitude might only be 500. It's also important to know the difference because barometric altitude is universal. 2 people both flying at 10,000 feet barometric will be at the exact same altitude, whereas 2 people who are at the same radar altitude might be at different altitudes because it's relative to the ground underneath you. And so radar altitude is a lot more useful when you're doing terrain masking or sea skimming, things like that. Next up, we're going to come down into the cockpit, starting on the left. Here you're going to see a radar scope. Since the compass does not have a radar, this is not going to show you anything. But if you did have a plane with a radar, you would see that here. To the right of that, we have another fuel and throttle indicator, and then we also have a heat gauge. This is very important. In this game, IR missiles, so your IRMS-1 and 2s and your MMRS-3s, these track you based on your heat, and so if you have a lower heat, it makes them easier to flare off. So if you have a heat seeker fired at you, you're going to want to drop your throttle, let your heat go down a little bit, and then pop flares. Sometimes you can drop so much heat that missiles will just lose track on their own, without you having to flare at all. Lastly, to the right of that, we have our engine indicators. For here, the numbers don't really matter, but the colors do. If they're green, you are good. If they're yellow, they're slightly damaged, and they're going to be losing thrust. And if they're red, well, you better find a nice highway ship to land on, because that engine is out, and it's not producing any meaningful thrust. The last thing I want you to do, I want you to open up your map, and I want you to select me. I'm going to be the rightmost compass in the southern group. After you do this, you're going to see that your targeting camera... you're going to see that your radar scope is going to replace with a targeting camera. This targeting camera gives you a bunch of very important information. Starting on the left, at the top, it's going to give you the name of whatever unit it is. It'll give you their range from you, their barometric altitude, and their absolute speed. On the right side, starting at the top, it'll give you the name of them if they're a player. It'll give you their heading that they're currently facing. It'll give you their relative altitude and their relative airspeed. This is important because, for example, if you're trying to fly in a formation, you want to try and keep your relative altitude and your relative airspeed as close to 0 as possible. So it'll be useful if you select your formation leader, try and keep those numbers as close to 0 as possible. Try and keep a nice tight formation. And with that, that is our cockpit and HUD overview done. Does anybody have any questions about anything in the cockpit or the HUD? Alrighty. So next up, what we're going to do, we're going to be doing a taxi and takeoff. How this is going to work is I'm going to taxi in front of you. After I pass you, you're going to form a conga line behind me. When we're taxiing in ATF, there are a few rules. First off, you want to stay under 10% throttle. and you want to stay under 25 knots. If you exceed 25 knots and you try and turn, you will flip your plane, which is not good. The people on the opposite side of the runway to me, so Spite and Garm, the two of you can taxi down towards this end of the runway. Again, just keep in mind your 25 knots, your 10% throttle. You're going to hold short of your side of the runway, so you're going to stop right before the limits. And we're just going to hold there. And we're just going to hold right here. While we're waiting for our last cadet to come join us. In on task force, communication is everything. When you're taking off, you don't want to be taking off into people who are landing. You don't want people landing on top of you while you're trying to line up. And so, because of that, we have air traffic control. Now, if all of us were to make our own air traffic control calls, that would be very confusing to ATC. There are 8 of us, 8 different calls in the same place, very hard to coordinate. So instead, what we could do, we could take off as a flight. And so what I could say, for example, Watchtower, Spectre 11, flight of 8 compasses, permission to line up runway 11 North Castilla, and Watchtower would get back to me and they'd say, Spectre 11, you are cleared to line up runway 11. And with that, we have received permission to line up. But before we line up, if you look over to our left, we're going to have our lovely ATF demonstration. They're a little bit far off.
Holy shit, that guy's hauling ass. He just went right over me.
And we got some more.
I thought he was gonna eat it for sure, look.
I really hope he was gonna lawn dart into me. That would have been so funny.
There goes the flares and the scream.
Yep. Hey, there goes another one.
And that's everybody.
Alright, you get some cool points.
So, with that, we are now going to taxi onto the runway. How this is going to work, we're going to follow the same rules as before. The people on my side, we're going to taxi onto the runway. I'm going to go on the left side. The person directly behind me is going to go on the right side. And we're going to alternate left and right down the runway. Do your best to try and go in the center of your side of the runway. There's a nice marking there. You're going to roll a good distance down the runway, and then you're going to stop. My entire side is going to go first, and then after we finish, people on the other side, you can join us. Again, alternating left and right. You're going to try and put yourself at about the 5 o'clock position of the person in front of you, so you want to be slightly behind them. We're going to roll a little bit further forward. I did not give us enough space. Make sure that you maintain your spacing. And we have the gator.
Going upside down.
Yes. Listen, on task force, we're good at 2 things: synchronized flying and synchronized crashing.
That looks painful.
Okay. So, now that we're all lined up, now we're going to go and take off. Again, we want to make sure that we're calling this out. We don't want to be taking off into people who are landing across from us. So again, we make a call. Watchtower, Spectre 11, flight of 8 compasses, permission to take off runway 11, North Biscali. And they'd get back to me and they'd say, Spectre 11, you are cleared to take off runway 11. And with that, we received our permission. So, what we're going to do, we are going to do a formation takeoff. So you're going to follow along with me in real time. Just make sure that you don't crash into anybody else. First thing you want to do, you want to hold your brakes, and you want to go to 0% throttle. After you hit 0% throttle, you're going to increase your throttle back up to 100%.
What?
Once you start rolling, you're going to let go of your brakes, and you're just going to go straight down the runway.
What? Okay, yeah.
The rotation speed for the compass is about 120 knots. So once you hit that, you're going to pull your nose up. You're going to pull up your gear. And you're going to take your effector and you're going to put it on 10 degrees above the horizon. And we're just going to climb. Now that is a very nice formation takeoff. So, the Compass, it's a trainer aircraft, and this means that it's very maneuverable at almost all airspeeds that it can reach. This is very useful for us in Atom Task Force, because sometimes we have very long sorties, people needing to loiter and fly around the map. And so you don't always want to be at 100% throttle. Since the BFT today is going to be pretty long, what we're going to do is we're going to climb up to 7,500 feet, and then we're going to level off, and we're going to drop our throttle to 30%, so that way we can conserve fuel.
We're at a 10-degree climb, right?
Yes, 10 degrees vector up. If you haven't already, this would also be a good time to select me and your targeting camera, just to make sure that we can all stay together. We're not looking for a extremely tight formation. I just want you guys to stay roughly behind me. 7,500 feet, we're going to level off, and 30% throttle. Alrighty. Once we've leveled off, I can tell you guys a story. So, in World War II, the United States was fighting the Empire of Japan in the Pacific Theater. Now, the main aircraft of the United States was the FRF Wildcat, whereas for the Japanese, it was the A6M-0. Now, the Zero had a few advantages over the Wildcat. Namely, it could turn a lot tighter, and it could climb a lot better. And this meant that if a single Zero got into combat with a single Wildcat, the Zero would probably lose. And that was obviously not good for the United States. And so what they did, they ended up having a bunch of debate, a bunch of discussion, and they ended up coming up with a maneuver called the Thach Weave. How this would work is that instead of flying off as individual pilots, the Wildcats would fly off as wingman pairs, so as a pair. This meant that if a Zero got on their 6, what they could do is they could break opposite directions. This would force the Zero to follow one of them, and it would let the other one turn around and shoot them off their 6. Now this was very successful. It's credited with saving the lives of hundreds of Allied pilots during the war, and it let the United States turn the tide of the war until they were able to develop more technologically advanced aircraft. In Atom Task Force, we're looking for people who are able to communicate effectively and perform basic maneuvers, and so as part of your BFT today, you're going to be doing a Thach Weave. So first off, we're going to have a demonstration from our lovely assistants.
Cheetah 112, Spectre 11, you have myself and Panther 7 on station for the demonstration.
Alrighty. First off, for the Thach Weave, you're going to want to get pretty far in front of the formation. You lose a lot of horizontal distance. You want to get at least 1.5 nautical miles in front of the group. After that, you're going to communicate with your partner. You're going to figure out who's going left, who's going right, and you want to get roughly side by side with them.
Okay, Mooney, if you pull up on my right wing, I'll brake left, you brake right. We'll sit at mill power and set wings to 55 degrees.
Copy. Warming up on your right side. Slowly but surely.
I think some of us are lagging behind in the train here.
That should make things a bit easier for you.
We're not too far apart. Only like 1.5 miles.
Okay, call the brake when you're in position.
Again, this isn't a very tight formation. It's just to keep us all together.
Just realized, took a second, and I fucking went too fast.
Don't worry.
No power, 55 degrees.
Now that our lovely instructors are side by side, I'm going to ask them if they're ready. So, NB, are you ready?
Cheetah 11 ready.
Mooney, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Alrighty. If they're good, I'm going to call out 3, 2, 1, brake. They're then going to pull their respective directions.
Looking right.
They're going to level out once they're directly opposite each other. After about 5 seconds, they're going to reverse their
4 mile
turn.
separation, reversing.
They're going to turn the opposite direction they just turned. So if they broke right, they're going to turn left, and vice versa. Once they have their partner in their HUD, they're going to call out nose on.
Nose on.
Then they're going to pass each other, and they're going to repeat. So they're going to fly straight for 5 to 10 seconds. They're then going to reverse their turn. If
3 mile separation,
they're going to turn
reversing.
left, and vice versa.
Nose on.
They're going to call
Nose
when they
on.
have nose on. And they're going to pass each other. They're going to do this 3 times total. So, whoops.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, reverse.
With that, we are now going to go into our Thach Weave. However, if you notice, we are going out into the ocean. So, as a flight, we are going to make a very gentle right-handed turn. You're only going to pull about 1.5 Gs. Do your best to try and maintain your position in the formation. If you cut the corner, it makes it a lot harder for us to regroup. And again, this just has to be very gentle, 1.5 Gs. We're not in a rush. We're going to turn until we reach heading 270. Then we're going to level out. And then we will go into our Thach Weave. So we're going to do this pairwise. So first off, we're going to have Wolf Holler and Darken. The two of you are going to increase throttle to 100%, come out in front of the formation. And with that, congratulations, you guys have completed your Thach Weave. You can rejoin the back of the formation. Next up, we're going to have Clophantics and Garm. The two of you increase your throttle to 100%, come out in front of the formation.
Well, I have left, you have right.
Okay, so which direction?
I have left, you have right. You're on the
Alright.
right side.
Yes.
Alrighty, you guys are going to get about 1.5 nautical miles in front of the formation.
Let me tag you again, because I have him tagged. Here we go.
Alright, are the two of you ready to do your Thach Weave?
Yes.
Yes. Breaking left.
Alrighty. And you can break. You're going to straighten out once you're fully opposite each other. You're going to fly straight for 5 to 10 seconds.
5, come back.
You're then going to reverse your turn, turning the opposite direction you just turned in.
Now?
Oh. Nose on.
Nose on.
And
Once you pass each other, you're going to fly straight for another 5 to 10 seconds.
reverse.
Okay.
Nose on.
Nose on.
And reverse.
Reverse.
Oh, Garm, you
Oh, I
got
did
to
the
turn
wrong
to your
direction.
right.
My
but
bad.
It's fine. You can recover.
Nose on, technically.
Nose on.
And back.
And you're going to do this one more time. So once you pass each other, you're going to fly straight for about 5 to 10 seconds.
Reverse.
And you're then going to reverse your turn, coming back towards each other. Calling out when you have nose on.
Nose on.
on.
And with that, congratulations, you guys have completed your Thach Weave.
Yes.
You can rejoin the back of the formation. And last up, we have Rats and Spiked. The two of you can increase your throttle to 100% and come out in front of the formation. And once you pass each other, congratulations, you've done your Thach Weave. You can rejoin back the formation. The formation, we're going to make another very gentle right-handed turn. This time, again, about 1.5 knots, or 1.5 Gs. We're going to come back around. And we're going to go into our next portion, which is targeting. Now, in Atom Task Force, a lot of our operations involve destroying massive amounts of ground units. And so sometimes we can have, 1 to 2 dozen people all attacking the same exact target. We don't want to be wasteful. Every munition wasted on a target that's already going to be destroyed is one that could destroy something else. And so, in Atom Task Force, we always want to call out our targets. We're going to level out at 90 degrees. Now in Atom Task Force, there are 3 main ways that we call targets. The first way is you could call them based on their target type. For example, I might say, hey, I'll shoot all the IFVs in the convoy, you'll shoot all the MBTs. That way we know we won't accidentally double up and shoot the same target. We could also do it based on their relative location. So I might say, hey, I'll shoot the northern 4, you'll shoot the southern 4. And again, we won't double up. When you're using direction, however, it's important that you always use cardinal directions, north, south, east, west. If you use left and right, it can get confusing. For example, if I'm flying from the north, you're flying from the south, your left is my right. And so if you say, hey, I'll shoot the targets on the left, I might accidentally hit your targets. And lastly, you could do targeting based on their absolute location. So you might say, hey, I'll shoot the cluster in H5, you'll shoot the cluster in J6. That way we know we won't hit each other's targets because they'll be physically separated. As part of our BFT, we're going to do a mock combat engagement. How this is going to work, if you look over towards Dust Bowl on your map, you're going to see that we have a convoy coming out of Dust Bowl, and Dust Bowl itself has been captured. So, how this is going to work, we're going to make 2 attack runs at the convoy. First off, we are going to attack the convoy proper. Since there are 7 of us, we are each going to pick 2 targets, and we're going to shoot 2 AGM-48s at them. After that, we're going to circle back around, and we're going to make an attack run on the airbase itself with our AGM-68s. So with that, we are free to break formation. You can fly however you want. How the attacks are going to work, we are going to call out our targets while we're in transit. Once we get about 5 nautical miles away from the targets, we're going to call out a rifle, and we're going to fire our munitions at them. And then we're going to break away and come back over the bay. For this first run, again, you're going to pick 2 targets in the convoy, and you're going to shoot your AGM-48s at them. Then we're going to make a second attack run at the airbase with our AGM-60s.
I'll take the back 2 AFV-6 ATs.
I'll take front 2.
I'll take the middle 2 at the gap.
I take the IFV 2 and 3 from the front.
Hey,
Not 2 and 3, 3 and 4, sorry.
Take 3 and 4 from the back.
I'll take 5 and 6 from the rear again, in that case.
Clarification, are we shooting 2 missiles per target, or just 2 in general?
You're going
Per
to...
target.
Yes, you're going to shoot 2 missiles per target, so all 4 of your missiles.
Copy.
Okay.
Remember, you're going to get within about 5 nautical miles, and then you're going to call out Rifle 4, which is the brevity code for using an AGM. You're going to turn back, come back, and loiter over the bay.
4 nautical miles, 4,
Around 5 nautical miles.
5 nautical miles, okay.
The reason why we're firing from so close is because in our operations there's typically a very heavy web of AA, and if you fire them from far out, they don't have enough speed and they'll just get intercepted by everything. So you want to basically shoot at point blank range to make sure that they hit going very fast and they can get through targeting. They can get through air defense systems.
And what do I say when I fire the AGMs?
Rifle 4.
Rifle 4, okay.
Speaking of, Rifle 4.
And once you
Rifle 4.
fire, you're going to turn and come back towards the bay, so that way we can regroup.
Rifle 4. Breaking left.
Rifle 4, breaking left.
Vampire on 1 missile coming towards you, Blue.
Yeah, I got it.
Fuck,
It's a-
that's
Don't
my
worry
bad.
about it. Don't
I
worry
had
about
you
it.
still targeted for following.
Don't worry. There's a reason why I climb.
Splash track.
Yeah, it wasn't money, dude.
Alright.
No, I
So,
forgot to deactivate the target on that.
yeah, well, it looks like you guys have successfully destroyed all the ground targets. Now what you're going to do, you're going to turn back in towards the airbase proper. And again, you're going to pick 2 targets. You're going to communicate them. However, please do not pick the munitions truck, because that will destroy a bunch of stuff there. After you pick your targets, if there's not enough targets, you can also destroy the little industrial zone to the direct northeast. And again, you're going to call out Rifle 2. Fire at 5 nautical miles.
Taking the northmost helipad and the northmost guard tower.
Going for the
I'll
southern
take the south
helipad
helipad
and...
and the south guard tower.
Never mind.
Taking the northmost aircraft revetment and the middle aircraft revetment.
South aircraft revetment and south helipad.
I am going to attack the storage tanks because I think that is all targets.
Rifle
Hell yeah.
I attack the helipads too. Oh no, there's no helipad left.
Rifle.
And again, you're going to come back over the bay. And we're just going to loiter for a little bit.
I think I flew a little far away. This might take me a hot minute to get there.
Nah, you're fine.
Rats, I'll come over there and give you a little boost.
Yes, please do. Make sure you lawn dart through my front.
Avoid hitting the munitions. So
Fuck,
storage
hit me.
tanks it was.
2 nautical miles out.
Alright, back to 30.
And again, we're just going to loiter over the bay.
Rifle 2.
Alrighty. And then with that, I get to do my favorite part of every single BFT. I'm a little bit too far out though. Again, just loiter over the bay.
Dog.
Annihilating the munitions truck.
Oh, I'll do more than annihilate it.
He had a nuke!
The small ammunition bunker going off. The small ammunition in mine, the nuke.
Yeah, I turned in from way too far out. Alrighty. With that, Red October, time of flight 30 seconds.
Yep.
That's a strategic.
I am going to dive due north if everybody could read your information on me. I'm going to be at 7,500 feet, about 300 knots.
I want to see the fireworks. I want to see the fireworks.
On a compass?
300 knots on the compass is pretty normal.
Yippee, yippee. Let's make sure I don't... Who's in front of me here? I don't want to hit you. Holy shit. That is never... Wow.
We're
That's almost beautiful.
again.
Both of you can turn around. Darker, if you
Don't
could come over to
know.
your right. Just to make sure that we're all staying in formation.
Why do I keep hearing the stall thing? Who keeps laying that?
Dog.
Vix.
So- Now that we have done all of that, we now get to go into the last part of every single BFT and everybody's favorite part of every single operation, landing. Now, again, we want to communicate. We want to make sure that HC knows we're coming in. And so I would say, for example, Watchtower, Spectrum 1, flight of 7 compasses, 7 nautical miles south of Maris, permission to enter pattern. And they let us know, Spectrum 1, you are cleared for visual approach. Enter a left-handed upwind for runway 30. And with that, we've gotten permission. Now we're going to make a right-handed turn, this time a little bit more aggressive, about 2 Gs. We're going to turn to heading 090 due east. And we're going to level out. In Adam Task Force, when we're landing, we fly pattern. This lets our air traffic controllers land multiple people at once, and it also makes sure that we don't have people cutting in front of slower moving aircraft and just jamming the whole system up. The first leg of your pattern, your upwind, this is basically when you're overflying the runway you want to land at. We want to land at runway 30. which means that the runway is going to be at a heading of 300, since the heading of a runway is just its number times 10. Runway 30 is this east-northeastern facing runway. We are going to fly out pretty far before turning back to make sure that we can line ourselves up nicely. Alright, I'm going to make a left-handed turn, again about 2 Gs. I'm going to turn to heading 000 due north, and I'm going to look out the left side of my cockpit. Oh, got to turn all the way to heading 300. You got to look out of the side of your cockpit to make sure that you're lining yourself up. I managed to time it perfectly, but I did not know that. Once we are on heading 300, we're now going to enter our pattern. Now, in ATF, when you're flying your pattern, you want to be at about 300 knots, and you want to be under 4,000 feet. So what you're going to do, you are going to pull out your air brake, and you're going to start diving at 20 degrees nose down. You're going to dive down until you hit about 3,500 feet. Then you're going to level out, and you're going to go to 10% throttle. Sorry, you're going to go to 20% throttle to make sure you don't lose excessive speed. Alrighty, once we all level out, we're now going to go into our pattern proper. So in Atom Task Force, we fly exclusively left-handed patterns, which means you're always going to be turning to your left. We also always fly rectangular patterns, which means all of your turns will be 90 degrees. And if you look on the compass, going to the left is the same as subtracting. So that means all of your turns are going to be 90 degrees behind your current heading. The way that I remember this is you want to decrease the first number by 1 and increase the second number by 1. So for example, we'll go from 300 to 210 to 120 to 30 and then back to 300. We are going to be making our first turn shortly. So again, 300 minus 90 gives us 210. So we're going to be making that left-handed turn. This is going to be a little bit more aggressive, about 2.5 Gs. We're going to turn all the way to 210 degrees. Then we're going to level out. Now this is the short edge of the rectangle. We're not going to be here for long. This is called your crosswind. We're now going to make our second turn. Again, 210 minus 90 gives us 120 degrees. So again, we're going to turn about 2.5 Gs. Very gently. This is the long end of the rectangle, so we're going to be here for a pretty long time. This is a good time to make sure that we're all nice and close together. If you look at the left side of our cockpit, you're going to see that we are now flying anti-parallel to the runway, so we're flying parallel but in the opposite direction. This means that we have a very good view of seeing who's coming into land to make sure that we're not going to be cutting anybody off, and that we're not going to be landing on... There's not going to be people landing on top of us while we're trying to land. If you look at the left side of your cockpit, you're going to see that very shortly we're going to be passing Maris directly off our left. That is going to be called being a beam to Maris. When you are a beam to Maris, you're going to drop your landing gear. After you do this, you're going to see that your fuel indicator is going to be replaced with a new icon. This is your angle of attack indexer. It is going to look like a circle, 2 lines coming out of the top and 2 lines coming out of the bottom. If it is on the bottom, it's going to be red, and that means that you're going too fast. You need to slow down. If it's in the middle, it's going to be yellow, and that means you're going the perfect speed. The ideal landing speed for the compass is about 120 knots, same as how you take off. If it's on the top, it's going to be green, and that means you're going too slow. You need to speed up. Now, we are currently flying on our downwind. The downwind is typically how you'll begin most patterns. It's sort of a balance between getting you into the pattern quick and making sure that there's still enough time for you to do all of your callouts. The next 2 legs are going to come very quickly. This very next leg is going to be your crosswind. Sorry, your base, and you're going to go on to your final after that. Right now, let's make our second to last turn. 120 minus 90 gives us 30 degrees. Again, pull about 2.5 Gs. After you make your turn onto your base, you're going to be, again, looking out the left side of your cockpit, looking to line yourself up very nicely with the runway. Alright, we're going to make our last
Somebody's
turn
buying
right
it.
now. Again, 30 minus 90 gives us negative 60, same as 300 degrees. Again, you're going to pull about 2.5 Gs. And now, if you look, we are more or less lined up with the runway. For the landing procedure, what you're going to do, you're going to pull out your air brake, and you're going to dive at 15 degrees nose down. Once you hit 1,500 feet, you're going to take your vector, which is the circle, and you're going to put that on the very tip of the runway. This will put you on a nice, gentle glide slope. As you start losing speed, you're going to notice that you're going to need to pull more and more AOA, and that'll make your indexer go into the yellow. After you cross about 115 knots, you're going to go to 10% throttle, just to make sure that you maintain your airspeed and you don't lose speed excessively. And we're just going to sit on this glide path. Now, since we're landing in a flight, we don't want to immediately land and hit our brakes, because then that means we'll all crash into each other. Instead, what we're going to do, we are going to roll down the runway. If you look, there's a cross runway. You are going to roll until you cross that cross runway, and then you're going to brake down and take the left exit off. Once you're about 200 feet of radar altitude, you're going to pull out your air brake one last time to make sure that you slow down and you hit a nice, gentle landing. Again, make sure that you don't instantly land, crash into each other. After you touch down, you can hit a nice flare. And you're just going to roll down the runway. And Wolf, if you look off the left side of the very end of the runway, there's going to be an exit. If you could take that exit. And with that, I think everybody has successfully landed. Yep, make sure that you slow down all the way.
I think that gave a good overview of how basic flight training at ATF works. After the training, we recruits were asked which career path we wanted to pursue at ATF and which airframe we wanted to fly. We were then assigned to the appropriate wing based on our answers. Naturally, I chose the chicane, which led to my assignment to the 755th Air Cavalry Wing. For any pilots interested in taking part in ATF's basic flight training themselves, I recommend joining the ATF Discord server and signing up there. I've included the link to the server in the video description. For anyone wanting to gather some information about ATF beforehand, after the training session I spoke with Blue Brooder to learn more. The training was conducted using the Compass. Separate certifications are required for all other airframes in order to fly them during operations. They are always looking for new members. The ATF server architecture supports up to 240 pilots simultaneously, not on a single server, but across multiple servers running in parallel. Interested pilots must have a microphone and be proficient in English. Otherwise, all skills levels are welcome. The flight training ensures that all pilots can fly effectively together. In addition to Nuclear Option, ATF members also engage with other games. While the primary focus is clearly on Nuclear Option, players of DCS and BAR will also find a community here. Operations are created by an internal mission building team and focus on collaborative PvE missions. PvP events do take place, described as relaxed affairs, but they play a minor role. Generally, one operation is held per week. It is worth noting that alongside the main operations aligned with American time zones, there are no operations scheduled for European time zones as well. If anyone is interested in contributing their own operations or liveries to ATF, that is generally possible. However, all material undergoes a review process, so not every submission is used in its entirety. Mods are a key part of the ATF experience. They are servers that utilize mods, and the community remains open to this aspect of the game. ATF offers 3 modded servers, 2 public PvP and 2 public PvE, operated by Ender and supported by patrons. I know, that was a lot of information, but in my opinion, it's all good stuff. If you are interested in flying with others at a semi-professional level, feel free to join the ATF Discord server or check out the ATF website to get an idea of what it's all about. I've included all the links in the video description. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the air soon. Fly safe.